Hello and welcome. This is the Reds Report, season number 9 for Barnsley's longest running podcast, sponsored by Barnsley Sport, and we are proud to be part of the TalkSport Fans Network. My name is Carlo van der Watering, and for those of you that haven't listened before, I'll give you a little introduction. My favourite Barnsley player of all time is, of course, Arjan de Zeeuw, but with Adam Hamel a close second. My favourite Barnsley FC memory is celebrating after the Bradford win, although the 2016 double Wembley wins do stick in my mind as well. Now, there used to be 3 of us. Steve used to be part of this as well, but I'll tell you about Steve in a minute. And one of the questions we got asked a couple of weeks ago was, if 3 of you were going into the I'm a Celebrity jungle, what luxury item would you take? And my response was earplugs. I've shared a room in a purely non-sexual way with Steve before. Describe the Reds Report podcast in 5 words. It's a Top Gear style Barnsley FC show. And if you could have one superpower, what would it be? Well, mine would be to stop those individuals that spread hate campaigns and remove corrupt and out-of-touch politicians and bullshit spreaders by a single X-ray vision shot from my eyes. And I call myself the Amsterdam Annihilator. Also with us this evening for his 2nd season with the Reds Report, it's Reds Report Ian. His favourite Barnsley player has to be Adam Hamel, a player who got you off your seat, scored great goals that are still shown today, and loved taking a player on. His favourite Barnsley memory is going to Wigan away on the last day of the 2016 season and winning 4-1 against the champions to get into the playoffs on goal difference with 5,000 Reds there. And was a great day, equaled by going to Fulham on the Struber and winning 3-0 in the pouring rain. His luxury item in the jungle, we're obviously quite alike. Earbuds, because he bets us 2 snore like troopers. I know Steve does.
Great minds.
Yeah. The podcast in 5 words, tell it how it is. And one superpower, invisibility. So I could hit stupid people about that, around the head, and they would never know who did it. Now, I said before, evening, by the way, Ian.
Good evening.
We have to talk about the elephant in the room. And I know on Twitter there has been jokes, but yeah, Steve obviously has left us. He is no longer part of the Reds Report. He flew off to Dubai. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. I got a voice note from him when he landed.
Football's gone, hasn't it?
Right.
Football's gone. He's just seen the money and gone.
Yes. Well, they go to Saudi Arabia, loot. Hold on, because he's ringing. No. Mate, I'm recording. You said you didn't want to be part of it no more.
Tell him Slinky's up.
Right. Ian says you can have one more chance, right? But next time somebody shows you a bit of money, think about where your roots are. And I don't mean the grey ones on your head, right? Right. Are you ready with your camera? Are you still in Dubai? Right, he is still in Dubai.
Salam alaikum.
He is now joining us. And I'm sure regular listeners will know who this is. But if you don't, this is the Steve Spangled Banner, Steve Andrews, his favourite Barnsley player.
It's me! I am returned!
His favourite Barnsley player is Paul Futcher.
Can't get rid of me that easy, can you? You see, it was all a jest. All a jest.
His favourite Barnsley FC memory is Scott Jones' header in the FA Cup 97-98 to make it 3-1 against Man United. His luxury item, if we go into the jungle down under, would be Kylie Minogue, because she knows the area and is great down under. Yeah. Describe the Reds Report
podcast. Some things never change, do they?
Describe the Reds Report podcast in 5 words. Ordinary guys giving an honest opinion and having a laugh at the same time, but difficulty counting. That's Steve. And his superpower. For all the pessimists, happy clappers, people who think they're in the know, but actually know, and just plain stupid, I'd like to click my fingers, and if by magic their keyboard would be up their ass. I am the analyzer. Steve, welcome back for yet another season.
We're back, boys. Come on, we're back.
Come on, better than ever.
It feels really strange that another season is about to start, but the holidays have sort of just started for some of us. Steve, have you been golfing today? I need to get that out of the way.
No, it's raining, mate. Weather's been shocking this last few weeks. So, no, there's not a ball being hit or a club being swung, I'm afraid.
Well, there have been plenty of swings at the club on social media in the last couple of days. Let's talk about the gaffer first. Last time we spoke, we knew obviously that Duff had gone. The club was looking. We didn't hear anything, and then, as if by magic, a day after, the new gaffer was announced. As always, lads, we might have different opinions, but we respect each other's. Steve, we respect each other's opinions, don't we, mate? Ian, let's go with you first. Let's go with you first. Your view. I know we haven't seen much of him, but initial sort of thoughts on the new gaffer.
On him, I think he's come across quite well. I think, to be honest, he spoke well, similar to Duff. I think he's come out in sort of similar kind of things he's come out with. The players have come out and spoke quite well of him, which is a good sign, and about his principles and how they're not probably going to change much to the style that they experienced under Duff. I think you've just got to give him time. He's 39 at the end of the day. He's not got a massive amount of experience, and he's come out and been quite honest, and it will be a bumpy first couple of months. We'll have some good performances and good results, and bad performances and bad results, a bit like what we had under Duff for the first few months. So I was a little bit disappointed. Like my lad said, why do we always shop at Aldi when we could occasionally shop at Marks and Spencer's or Waitrose? But I just don't think this board have got any money. So we've got him. I'll back him. But I think it could be a challenging season all round. But as always, you'll have my support.
Steve, we've had a lot of managers before Duff from Austria, from Germany. This one came from the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Yeehaw! Yeah. And not something we never thought we would say, but in all fairness, very well liked, very well respected, and a half-decent record over there. Does that bode well for you, him being appointed the next Barnsley FC head coach?
Well, I think you've got to look at his playing career. Leeds, Sheffield United, Wolves. He's been about in England. He knows what it's all about. He knows what it takes to play over here. The fact that he was managing at Tampa Bay, which I don't even know what it would equate to in England. It's nowhere near MLS because for a start they haven't got enough money to pay to get into MLS. But to say he was well liked, I think, is an understatement. A lot of the stuff I saw about him when he left were fans saying that they loved him and he was fantastic, and he'd really taken their team to new heights. And yeah, you know what? Is it a cheap option? Maybe it is a cheap option. I don't know. But when you want an English manager, near enough, with some experience at EFL, which he has, not a great deal of management experience, but then again, Duff didn't have. Like Ian says, he talks a good game. He's got him training players that you thought were dead and buried. Apparently, a sort of warming to him, and I'm talking likes of Styles. Apparently, he's playing really well in training and such. So maybe he is the breath of fresh air that we need. Somewhat fresh. We're never going to buy Championship players, Championship managers, Premiership, because we're not that sort of club. End of the day, it comes back down to being a business. We always buy cheap. We always buy lower league, and with the grace of God, we turn them into semi-decent players, and we are able to make some money and keep the club going for another year, or another 2 years, or another 3 years. But we know that. It's as though some Barnsley fans forget this, but it is true. That's the type of club we are, and we love them for it. We love the ups and downs, the roller coaster that pre-season has been. At least it's been better than the Wednesdays, which is a shame. But let's give the guy a chance and let's see what he can do. Why not? Let's be honest. What we got to lose?
It's a well balanced management team, isn't it, Ian? You've got Collins, obviously his experience as a player, as a centre back. You've got John Stead.
Is that the new sponsors?
Other beers are available. Caffrey's is nice though. If anybody's watching from Caffrey's, no advertising, no.
John Stead as assistant. I mean, in his playing days as a striker, wherever he went, he scored goals, which has to be good. And obviously, the local angle with Martin Disco Devaney still there as a midfielder. So it looks, again, like when Duff came in, it looks a well-rounded sort of outfit. How long do you think they'll need to sort of like get the machine properly oiled? And I'm referring to some of the friendlies that were called off, and because they haven't really had a chance much, have they, to in a competitive situation to put their stamp on things or show fans what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, it's been a bit disappointing that for whatever reason some games have been called off or behind closed doors, so fans haven't really had the opportunity to see the players close up and see what he's trying to achieve and start formations, etc. It does look quite well rounded. It has similarities of last season with Patterson and Duff. You've got Stead and Collins. You've still got that local aspect with Devaney. How long have they got? I think just if you bob it. It has so many similarities to this time last season, and we were like, well, where are we going to be? And we said, well, we'll be top 10, and if we push for that 6th place, we'll have had a good season. And it ended up being better than that. I get the same feeling this season. I feel we're at the same point. If he's knocking around that top half, top 10, September, October, things will be ticking over. If you're only a couple of wins from, I don't expect it to be, but if it's like floating around the bottom, people will start pointing fingers, won't they? And you just hope that he has a good start. Duff said it, didn't he? He said, if I had a bad start, then the knives are out and I'm up against it, like he would be at any club. So I think if he's floating around that top 10 by September, October, I think things will start to knit come October, early November, I think.
As always, Steve, during the summer period, some players obviously left us. Mostly publicised, that being the captain, Mads Andersen, obviously, Thomas left as well, and others. Brought in so far then, let's have a look. From Hartlepool, the keeper, Ben Killip on a free transfer. From Solihull Moors, Andy Dallas on a free transfer. From Woking, Casper Lopata, who by all accounts, he spent a lot of his time in the Sheffield United Academy playing on the ball, hacking bottom. He was free. Corey O'Keefe and Max Watters, both for undisclosed amounts. And so far, Liam Roberts is a goalkeeper who's on loan for the season from Middlesbrough. And a quick word first then on the goalkeeper. I mean, we've tweeted about it and we've been quite vocal that I think a lot of the fan base would have loved to seen Harry Eistad come and join us. Probably even more so when, Collins left, who would have been the first choice goalkeeper, obviously, when they didn't bring Eistad back on a permanent deal. Killip and Roberts, I mean, there's not much we know or say about him, but you probably say, Liam Roberts being Middlesbrough's, was second or third goalie, he'll be the one to start, or how do you see this one? Because it's two keepers we don't know anything about.
Well, let's face it, there's a few players there that we don't know anything about. Killip basically got castigated before he'd even played a game because he's come from Hartlepool, non-league, etc. But again, we don't know much about him, so how can we comment? Roberts, second, third choice at Middlesbrough. Can't say I've seen him play. Again, no idea. But they must have. You'd think, or you'd like to think, that they must have something. Somebody's seen something, not just stats, but hopefully how they've played, and they feel that they can fit in to what Collins is wanting to do. Polish lad at back. I can't say I've heard any bad things. Again, somebody else I don't know anything about. Collins left. Personal opinion, we're never a Collins fan. Shout at me, swear at me, I'm not bothered. I just didn't like him. I would have liked Eistad to come in because I thought he was a far better keeper. But it just wasn't meant to happen, which is, it happens in football. Same with Max Watters. He's come back off loan. Did I rate him while he was on loan with us? No, not particularly. He came on, he had a couple of flashes. For me, he didn't really apply himself. But then, having said that, never really got a run in the side because of Norwood and Cole playing really well. But obviously, he's ours now, and you'd like to think that puts a different mentality in his head. He's actually a Barnsley player, and hopefully he's gonna give everything for the shirt because we're paying his wages now, I suppose. Andy Dallas, no idea. Seen his sister, but other than that, what are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
I've just got a bit of wind.
Oh, right. Have you not seen Margaret? What were you thinking I was talking about? Anyway, that's another story. Don't know what about him. A lot of people are talking good stuff about him, even though he's non-league. Let's give these guys a chance. Do you know what I mean? Let's not shoot them down in flames before they've even kicked a ball. Let's not say, oh, he's non-league player, so he's bound to be shite. No, why? Why is he? Do you know what I mean? He could turn out to be next Andy Payton, Wayne Biggins. Who knows? Who knows what they could turn out to be? Let's give them a chance and let's see what they've got.
Ian, you wrote a piece for the website earlier this evening about potentially Wrexham making an approach for Norwood. If you look at the strikers we've got at the moment, so we've got Norwood, we've got Cole, we've got Ollie Shaw, we've got Andy Dallas, and we've got Max Watters as well. I mean, that's five. Would you think one of them might go out on loan, or do you think one of them could actually, we can afford to lose one? And if so, is Norwood a player you'd like to lose so close to the start of the season, knowing what he sort of did, not just in front of goal, but for the young squad that we had in general last season?
Absolutely not. No, I think he's got to be the one that stays. We've not seen anything of Ollie Shaw, so we don't know whether is it going to work for him here. Is under the new manager, is he going to get a chance? Does he go out on loan? We have got a plethora of strikers, but I just think you can never have enough strikers, can you? Because Cole isn't. Yeah, what did he get? Did he get 15, 16 last season, which was his best return? But he's not a 25 goal season, is he? Norwood's not, but they all contribute in different ways, and it'd be nice if sometimes a bit like how we did under Ismail, where you take a couple of strikers off after 60 minutes and replace them with two others who give you a different dimension. I'd hate to see Norwood go. It is only speculation, but I could see it happening as well, especially now they've lost Paul Mullin for the start of the season because he got a punctured lung in that friendly yesterday. So, but no, for me, Norwood, I think it'd be a massive kick in the teeth and a blow if he left a week before the season started.
So up front, Steve, we seem to have, plenty on the bench and on the pitch to choose from, 5 strikers to choose from, which is pretty decent. The midfield, there's not really been any sort of huge changes. At the back, though, surely that has to be Khaled's single most forefront of his mind, because Anderson is going to be a huge loss. Bobby Thomas is no longer an option because he's joined Coventry as well, I suppose. So is it time for Cundy to step up, Steve?
Why would you say such a thing? Don't be so silly. First and foremost, Mads going, wish the lad well, deserves everything he gets. Fantastic servant, loved him to bits. No hard feelings to him whatsoever. I hope we get Luton in Monarch Cups just so we can welcome him back and give him a good cheer. We do need another centre half, I'm afraid. I've seen many rumours flying about. Some of them far too crazy to even talk about. We seem to be covered. Sort of right wing back, you've got Cotter, you've got O'Keefe comes in now, you've still got Jordan Williams for the time being, whether he goes to Preston or wherever, who knows before the start of the season. Left hand side, Say again.
Premier
What's
League, he reckons.
Is that what he reckons?
That's what
He
he
wants to
reckons.
play, he wants to play at the highest level.
He must
Although,
have been
He does,
drinking when he
yeah.
had that interview.
yeah,
He were on Capri's. Tell you what he were on. No, he were on John Smith. I like a bit of John Smith, so no. Anyway, other beers are available. Left-hand side, obviously, we've got Cadden. As I say, I talked about Styles earlier on. If his mind's in the right place, I know people are saying, well, he don't want to play for us, get rid, blah, blah, blah. Like it or not, that he had some really good games at that left wing back position. Maybe this season he uses his common sense and thinks, well, only way I'm going to get a move away from Oatwell is if I actually play and play well. Otherwise, he's going to be sat on bench. Nobody's going to want to buy him if he's not prepared to put work in. So, you know, your wing backs, you'd like to think we weren't too bad with, but yeah, you'd like to get another centre half in with some experience. And I mean, maybe that's Khaled's big news. Maybe, you know, he's going to sign Harry Maguire. Oh no, I said a decent centre half, didn't I? Yeah, I forget that.
McCarthy's due to come back after his injury as well, isn't he? But
Yeah.
Norwood said it. Norwood had quite a frank interview. It was in Yorkshire Post, and he said midfield and up front were not too bad. But even he was saying we're a bit thin on the ground. And when you think like how they played last year, they always knew that if we lost the ball, that back three, back five was superb with Bobby Thomas, Chin, Anderson, and he's right. And I thought he was quite honest, really, to say we are light and we haven't got strength in depth. So, yes, McCarthy and Cundy are there, but you'd like him to dip in and try and find another centre half. Like, I agree with Steve with that.
Steve mentioned him earlier. I just want to talk a little bit about Callum Styles because all these people, we'll talk about social media later on, but these people saying, they don't want to play for the club, blah, blah, blah. Let's not forget, Callum Styles had bundles and bundles of potential, but played in a shocking side with some shocking managers that didn't know their arse from their elbow. I can quite understand that a player then says, this is not working for me. I'd like to move away. Signed a contract, you know, a decent contract to then go on loan. If a yes or no from you both, if Callum Styles is back to somewhat where, you know, the potential that he's shown us before, I'd like to see him play because I think we need the best 11 out there to avoid any Wembley mishaps and finish first or second. Ian, Styles, yes or no?
Yes. He wasn't the only one who downed tools in that disastrous season. I wouldn't lay it all at his door. Yes, he's got the potential to be one of the best players in that squad. Yeah.
Steve, you same?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I'd if his attitude's right, and that's what you're hearing coming out of training, what you're hearing coming off Collins. If he's got his head in the right place, play him. I'm not being funny. We're paying his wages, so give the lad a go. He needs to play well. If he wants to move away to a decent club, and I'm not saying out about Barnsley, obviously not. But if he wants to move away to a championship club, he's got to show that he can play. And the only way he's going to do that is shoot that dog. Is to put that effort in. Whose dog was that? It didn't even sound like a dog. It sounded like a cat with a sore throat. What was that all about? I'll show you a dog. I'll shout him. Anyway, Styles, yes, definitely.
Our cat's bigger than our dog. She's that tiny, but she thinks she's like Chewbacca or something. So anybody goes near the door, she's like. I was frantically trying to find my mute button, but I'm too late.
Yeah. We talked about what we need.
Now, aren't we?
He's gone now. Look, he's gone. First short season, he's absolutely gone. Tits up, everything's gone. No chance. Under 18s, don't listen. Whatever it is, they'll be swearing, drinking, all sorts going off in a minute.
We know we need, we need more players, especially at the back. If you look at the league compared to the league last year, is it a bigger task to get promoted from this one, or was it a bigger task last season? Quickly run you through the teams in the league this year. So Blackpool, Bolton, Bristol Rovers, Burton, Cambridge, Carlisle, Charlton, Cheltenham, Derby, Exeter, Fleetwood, Leyton Orient, Lincoln, Northampton, Oxford, Peterborough, Port Vale, Portsmouth, Reading, Shrewsbury, Stevenage, Wickham, Wigan.
Is this a yes or no answer? This one as well.
Is this a harder league than last year? Yes or no?
I think it's the same. I think
Yeah, I'd go with that.
It was a tough one last season, but then Derby are still in it. Blackpool will be up there. Wigan have been took over. They've got a bit of money now, been buying. The likes of Charlton have been buying really well. Bolton will be up there. But then you've got some, no disrespect, but maybe Carlisle might struggle. Did Leyton Orient come up? A couple of them might struggle. So I don't think it'd be too dissimilar. It's going to be potentially there's a good 8 to 10 teams who could be vying for 6 spots there, I think, again, just like last year.
If you had this conversation 12 months since, would you have said Plymouth look as though they're going to be a right side this season and they're going to go up as League One champions? You wouldn't have done.
There's always surprise packages.
There's always surprise. It's never easy. It's never easy. Everybody's fighting for their lives. And there's quite a lot of teams, I think, this year, all with similar budgets. There's odd one or two that stand out that would probably, you'd say, have got more than everybody else. But I think it'll be, it'll be dog eat dog again this year.
But that's a League One thing, isn't it? On paper, though, if you look at the squad that you've got,
but don't play on paper, don't they? Play on grass. Come on.
I know, but if you look at the midfield, you look at the 5 striker we just mentioned. It feels like we're quite well equipped if Collins can work his magic and get them playing the way he wants them to play. I think there'll be a lot of teams looking at that squad and your first 11, 12, whatever, thinking they're going to take some beating.
I think you're right. The first 11 or 12, but it's just having that strength in depth, isn't it? That's the issue. And I know there's quite a while yet. Is the transfer window shut at end of August or something? Usually 1st of September. So there's time, but I think it's more that strength in depth. It's what's on the bench that'll be, especially like last season, we picked up a couple of long-term injuries with Luke Thomas and Conor McCarthy. If that happened to us in key positions, certainly in defence, I think we'd be screwed, won't we, in that respect?
Yeah. We're recording on Saturday with Joe Beardsall from Red All Over, our joint sort of Reds All Over report type thing. So I'm not going to ask you for any predictions or anything because we saved that for...
I predict that I'm going to get a breakfast this year. That's what I predict.
I predict all 3.
I'm only coming for a breakfast.
That's what I thought. They're not even coming for a game afterwards. What sort of supporter are you?
I'm bogging off back at home. I can't be bothered.
Your lass has told you, I know. She'll be pulling that lead in. Come on, get her one.
I do want to have a quick word about the relationship between the fans and the club. Obviously, social media sits smack bang in the middle of that. A lot of emotions when we were waiting for an announcement of a head coach. And whilst I get it, because we're all nervous, I don't think any club that will ever post saying we've just interviewed another candidate, looks really well, or just about to go into another interview, let you know how we get on. Because, there was the meeting with the social media creators and the fan groups that many people classed as a secret meeting, but it can't have been secret because there were 25 up there. They've since called an open forum at Oakwell for 200 people or whatever. What is it between the club and the fans? Because last year we talked about how brilliant it was that, we were back together and all this, and then Duff goals and Anderson goals, and then everybody seems to vent their anger back at the club. Is that a fair assumption? Are the club doing something that really irritates the fans? Where does this stem from? Steve, you're normally not very outspoken, so I'll let you go first.
Interesting. I think on a downside to the club at the minute is definitely communication. But then to flip that, there's not many clubs would talk about what they're interviewing, who they're interviewing, what stage that particular interview is, let's face it, all right, if you're Man U or Man City or whatever, you can say we're thinking about bidding 70 million for a player. That's fine. But when we're in our position, as soon as you say, oh, look at him, he's a decent player and we might get him for about 200,000, 300,000 pounds. There's another, like you said, another 20 odd clubs in League One that go, oh, aye, what's that all about? New player. Do you know what I mean? So to some respect, I get why they keep the cards cut close to the chest. But I'm not being funny. They've done this for the last God knows how many years. Barnsley's always been the same when it comes to communicating. We've never, ever been brilliant. So getting pissed off about it now makes no difference whatsoever. Yeah, it'd be
what
nice.
Is it though, Steve? What is it though that they could do better? So what is missing? What communication is missing? Because I sort of disagree, but we'll go into that. But what is missing? What would you like to see more?
Did you just say you disagree?
I do, yes.
Wow. First, this is a first, folks. This is definitely a first.
Ooh, I feel a bit-
I'll be back off to Dubai next week.
Anyway, I'm going. Where's my sunglasses? I put my sunglasses on. No, I think I'd like more communication with the club. I'm not asking them to tell me what they're having for the dinner on Wednesday or who's coming for it or all like that. But there does seem to be at times a breakdown. I mean, I saw somebody tweet about Open Day on Saturday about they didn't know the fact that if you got a season ticket, you could get in for note. And I thought, well, I'm sure I've read that somewhere weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I had a look and I couldn't see out. And there's nothing on Barnsley website, that says if you come to Open Day, which is free, says that bit, but it doesn't say if you're a season ticket holder and you want to watch match, you can get into match for free. It's little things like that they seem to miss. Yeah. And I think it's that side of it then that annoys people to a certain extent. But again, you flip it and you've got some people that talk absolute testicles when they think they know something, but let's face it, they don't know out. So getting on the back and abusing them and saying they're this and they're that and Khaled's this and Khaled's that. We had a fantastic season last season. We've not had a brilliant pre-season. There's been a lot of breakdowns all the way through club, through fan bases. There's been no secret meetings. If people want to go, go. There were 200 tickets, but people saying we can't get on, we can't get a ticket. But yeah, other people have got tickets. I even put on, if anybody's got a spare ticket, because somebody were tweeting a load of crap, I'd have given him this ticket. You go. You actually say something then to Khaled and see if you get a different answer. But I bet you're £1,000 now. It doesn't matter what question you ask him. He's brilliant. He could be a politician, Khaled, quite easily, because he can deflect, he can turn it round, and he will only tell you what he wants you to know. So you can shout and bawl until you're blue in face. That make no difference. So why worry about it?
I'll quickly give you my take on it. I think this criticism always happens during the summer because I think there's not a lot to say. If we're interviewing players or we're going after players, we're not going to broadcast it because you don't. You know, when I went for this job at the school, they didn't put it on Twitter that I was being interviewed because they don't, do they? So I think that's one of them. In regards to the Open Day, yes, I read it. I've just checked. There was on the website, yes, it was yesterday though. It does say it. I don't know if they posted it before, but I saw. I would have thought if you're a season ticket holder, you log in, it would have come up as free. But no, I get it. So those little things, yeah, maybe. But then I think, I don't know what else they wanted. Because if they put on, the shirts are up for sale. You can go online or whatever. People.
Hold on about this. You'll like this one. I went on website. I thought, you know what? I like home kit. I do. Black kit, fantastic. Got to have one of them. Went on website. For your first order, 10% off. Nailed on. I orders home kit. I orders black kit. All right. Admittedly, it's not coming while 2025, but that don't matter. But then when you go to checkout, your 10%'s washed away with postage and a bloody handling fee. What's the point? Everybody these days, click and collect at Club Shop. Why not? But no, they take your 10% away. So I've got to say it. Off I came, didn't buy it. Face on. But I'm not handing my season ticket back. Just saying. Sorry, Carlo. Carry on, mate. Bit of a rant.
No, and you know what? And I get it. And those sort of things, right? Yeah. And you could ask, is it a bit of an empty gesture, or is it just there to soften the blow of the handling fee, which I presume is a Fanatics thing? So therefore, and that's how they make their money. So you know,
this weren't through Fanatics though. This was through club website shop. It weren't Fanatics website.
Yeah, but they run it all now, don't they? All the interface and everything. Instead of ordering at the shop and somebody picks your order off the printer and gets one and puts it in a bag, it's all done through Fanatics now, isn't it? So
I
that's
thought it was done in Korea.
Well, wherever they
Somewhere
are.
like that.
But in communication-wise, I always think in the summer, I don't if we sign a player or whatever, then by all means we need to know. If there's an open day, tell us what's happening and everything else. But I don't know what else they want to say. Like, you know what I mean? It's like me ringing my mum. I ring her every day. And in holidays, I've no to tell her. Oh, yeah, mum, I'm on series 3 of Ted Lasso. That's what I told her today. She still doesn't know who Ted Lasso is.
Fantastic, top quality. Other series are available, but that's amazing.
Ian, what is your sort of view on this? Because there was a lot of negativity again, people saying they're never going to renew. And I just thought to myself, what is it that the club is getting wrong in the eyes of those people? Because I don't get, I'm not saying they're wrong, because if that's how they feel, they own that. It's no problem. And I'm not against it. If the club would have come out and said we've made a mistake and the season tickets were actually the wrong price and we're going to take 60 quid out of everybody's bank account, I get it. But I don't know what the club have done or not done for people to be so pissed off. Clear it up for us, son.
Do you think some of it is still a hangover from the 4 or 5 years of Conway and Lee, that kind of boardroom that really did burn some bridges?
Yeah,
I think there's still a little bit of that, and it's opened up a few wounds, because it did start to heal when we started having the scarf day against Derby, and then all them home matches and and the build up with the playoffs and everything. I do wonder whether some of that is opening up old wounds, that people are still bitter from what happened there. It doesn't help, and you're right about Khalid. He is a politician, and he is very good at deflecting, standing up and deflecting stuff. I think he shoots himself in the foot a little bit when he comes out with his big news, when he's trying to sell early bird season tickets, when Duff's still the manager, and we might be a championship club at that point, so people jump in. And I know other clubs have early bird season tickets. But then here we are now with a manager that some people have been underwhelmed about. The better players have gone. We might not have a great season in League One, and we've still not heard what this big news is. So I don't think he helps himself. However, you're right. No club, any manager. I heard some of the managers in the Premier League this week saying, I'm not going to talk to you about speculation because I don't talk about other teams' players. So they don't. And I think the club did very well to keep the fact that they were getting Collins under wraps. None of the journalists got a sniff of his name. There was a few names bandied around, whether they were true or not, I don't know. To keep that pretty quiet is very good. I just wonder whether some of it is deep-rooted from previous seasons and it just comes back to before. Everyone's entitled to opinion. But it's got to a point a couple of times this pre-season where I've logged out, certainly of Twitter, and I've just left it alone because it's absolutely boiled my piss, I'll be honest. It really has.
Some people are actually quite vile. And
it's
like this show, we all have his own opinion. If you don't like our opinions, just, there's a button there, off. Simple.
Yeah.
But it is, though, if you don't like it, don't listen. If you're not interested, don't read it. Simple as.
There's even a sniff of podcast content creators, like people are trying to cause rifts, like you're either in this camp or in this camp. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Joe Beardsall, we're recording with Joe, Red All Over. You could presume that Red All Over is maybe for a lot of people the preferred podcast because they like it, they go to the club, they talk to players. You know what? Well done, Joe. Doesn't mean we block them. I like talking to Joe. Steve, we did it last year. You missed out on breakfast. This year you're having some. Yes, I know. and all, Ian's travelling from the other side of the Pennines to come and join us. We'll do an interview with Joe. We'll do our normal predictions and everything. Because to me, it's like a buffet, isn't it? There'll be some things on the buffet you don't like, then you leave them alone. You don't stand there going, I never liked cauliflower. Cauliflower is disgusting. You go past the cauliflower, you get the peas and carrots. You know what I mean? I just don't get.
What I have enjoyed about what I do like about Twitter and stuff like that is generally I'll have a conversation with anybody about anything, and they can have the completely polar opposite view, but it's a way of engaging with fellow fans. But some of it is just tiresome and it's non-stop. If the club haven't tweeted by 9 a.m, people are losing the shit. about why have we not announced 10 players that, just silly stuff, and just thinking, grow up. And I just think it's annoying. I've had to, like I say, I've had to log out a few times and have a bit of a breather from it. But it's just that's the world at the minute.
You even left country for a while, didn't you, mate? You had to get out of country for a while. Shocking state of affairs.
Videos of being really high up, and he knows I don't like heights, but he kept.
I don't like heights. I absolutely shit myself on them ski lifts.
The whole thing is, again, though, I mean, we haven't talked about, this potential point deduction, because I just think it's, why talk about it? It's either going to happen or it's going to be suspended or whatever. It's done, isn't it? That was damage done by those two clowns, and obviously they're no longer part of the decision-making progress. To round up then, or to finish off, 40 minutes, lads. 40 minutes today. Look at that. Are we happy with the club as of today? So I'm talking the 26th of July, 8:45 in the evening. On a scale of 0 to 10, how happy are you, Steve?
With the club, ups and downs this summer, I would say, as things stand, dependent on whether Norwood goes or not, because again, is it business? I'd say I'm round about an 8, to be quite honest.
Okay. Again, this Norwood thing. They're not going to sell Norwood if Norwood doesn't want to go. If
Correct.
Norwood's agent puts something to him and he says, I wouldn't mind a bit of that. What, Ryan Reynolds? What's his bird called again? Steve will know. Posters on your wall.
What do they call her? Lively. Blake Lively, isn't it?
Yeah. From
She
Gossip
looks
Girl.
lively, I'll tell you.
But you know what I mean? So again, if a player goes, people talked about Mads Anderson. But if Mads wants to go, they will let him go and they'll get the best fee for him. If Norwood likes the idea of, if Norwood's looking and thinking 5 strikers, am I going to get a go? Or am I going to be the one on the bench coming on for 10 minutes at the end? If he wants to go, I don't think any player's ever been sold against their will. It's either they've not been good enough or an offer has come in that's matched the valuation. Now, whether that's our valuation as fans is the same as that of the board, Ian, how happy are we? 0 to 10.
I'm a 5.
I had a drum roll. I'd play it now.
I think I'm a 5 or a 6. I'm a little bit sick of the constant churn of the squad. Like 10 come in last summer, a few come in January, then it just starts all over again, doesn't it? But I think and I look at other clubs who've recruited really well. And I know we said, we wished Mads Anderson really well, and I know we did. But then I look at like Bolton as an example, that Santos at the back. Him and Anderson were rated as the best centre-halves in that division, yet they've kept hold of him. We've lost Anderson. They've kept hold of Everett. I know he's a bit Marmite, Everett, but he's done a good job there. And they've not lost their manager like we lost Duff. And I know maybe the examples are a bit different. Duff's probably thought, right, I'm off, see you later. But a little bit disappointed with the constant churn of stuff. But then at the same time, I'd probably say 5 or 6, roughly, where I'm at, to be honest. They could do better. If it was a school report, I might just say could do better.
Does that make me an happy clapper then, seeing as I said 8?
Yeah, get on.
Does it? All right. Thanks
And,
very much.
I'm probably a persistent moaner or something.
Listen, I'm in the middle of
you get labelled, don't you? Get labelled, and it's like, you're in that camp, and it's just childish, isn't it?
And the thing is, as well, then when somebody perceives you to be in that camp, you can't get out of it because then you've betrayed or whatever. Like, we can't change it. I'm in the middle. When I asked the question, I had 7, and I'm still a 7. I think there could be things, but I think some things can't be helped. I think we will always be that club that brings a player in, like this Polish lad from Woking or wherever he came, and he could be the next Mads Anderson. He might have 2-3 fantastic seasons and he gets sold. And we always think we don't get enough money. A player's only really worth what another team wants to sort of, pay for him. And then you have to look at, we got $500,000 or whatever for Duff. We got a decent amount for Mads Anderson. It's listen. I think some people go on. Sorry.
But then you sometimes turn around and say that I know there was a bit of a black hole of debt with COVID and everything, relegation, but you'd like to see some of it spent, wouldn't you? If you got whatever we got, Luton broke their transfer record for Anderson. We got $500,000 for Duff. You'd like to see a little bit of cash spent. I don't mind getting a non-league player if they're a decent player. You know, if this O'Keefe is as good as Cadden was at Forest Green, that's a great buy. But it'd be nice to go out and buy that little bit more proven quality, a little bit. Don't have, no.
Didn't we spend over £1 million on Kane?
Yeah, apparently so. I suppose I can see your argument.
That took nearly 3 seasons to get to any sort of fruition, didn't it? You know what I mean? Just saying, devil's advocate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point, but sometimes you like to see us go and shop at and try and buy some quality in
Marks and Spencers instead of Aldi.
Correct.
Well, other shops are available, obviously.
Correct.
We'll finish up as we started with Marks and Spencers rather than Lidl. Lads, we are back together on Saturday when we're having breakfast at our secret place. And after that, we're joining Joe Beattle and Red All Over Gang for a joint recording where we'll do our usual predictions of the season.
Are we having a drink while we're there, do you think?
I think we might need to.
Fantastic. Covered in piss.
It'd be rude not to, wouldn't it? It'd be rude not to. You have been listening to episode 1, series 9 of the Reds Report. We're sponsored by Barnsley Sport and, of course, proud to be part of the TalkSport Fans Network. Until next week, thank you for listening.